Okay, so hey, what's up guys? This is your friend Captain DRS back with another video of KRS and DRS. And in this video, we are going to talk about Motorola. And we all know Motorola is a really big brand in its own way. But they have been a really submerged in the past. And currently, they are considered as an underdog brand. And to be frank, it's a good brand. But there are some ups and downs going on with the Motorola, which we're gonna be talking about in this today's video. So without any further ado, let's quickly get started. So basically, Motorola is known for its brand, its prestige, which was in past really huge. It was, I believe, the one of the brand that came up with the smartphone idea, or you can say the phone idea, and they were the first, as per me, to present a Motorola-based smartphone. Motorola was also basically known for its PC, not the PC square parts, cars, radio, and many other traditional work. We talked about some of the crazy facts about the Motorola in its own video. If you wanted to know, we will be linking in the description down below. Check it out. But if you know, Motorola is basically known for its own way of customizing the stuff. But to be frank, when they enter into the smartphone market, or you can say this phone market, they were one of the kind, or you can say one of the brand who provides one of the coolest looking, or you can say one of the only brand to provide smartphones, or you can say the phone itself. In the past, the keypad phones were considered as smartphones. Currently, they are considered as cell phones, which are basic phones, or you can say only mid-range basic phones, not even mid-range basic phones we want to consider it. And we all have, once in a while, have a good experience with the Motorola because they have a really big number of time in the market. In compare with the Samsung, also they are kind of as old as Samsung, or you can say even older than Samsung. It was launched in you can say it's USA, and after that it was acquired by the Google, and afterwards it was acquired by the currently the Lenovo, and that's why they are been so pressurized a lot in a lot of sense. But why Google acquired the Motorola? Why Lenovo acquired Motorola? We're gonna talk about those things also. So many of the things which are when the smartphones are coming up, there were only two major players as per me who came up with the smartphone ideas, Apple and Google tried to give a big competition with that very first Android phone, and they make the Android as if open verse, and they partnership with a lot of brand with their Nexus based smartphones, and to make a kind of say a big step into the smartphone era, because it was evolving in a every another second there was something new, and it wasn't any strong brand in stand with the Apple and Samsung. They are partnering with the Samsung for the Nexus, but they wanted that the Google Prestige, or you can say this Google era, should be having its own way of lifestyle. Currently, we all know Pixels are there, Google Pixel phone series, and but in the past there were Google's Nexus, and in a steps they partnered with the HTC, a lot of Honor based Huawei, there is Samsung, and a lot of brands. Even HTC made smartphones for them, and currently we all know HTC is not so much available. Even the Huawei is not so much available in global market, and they have also made smartphones in collab with the Motorola. But afterwards, to make a big impact into the smartphone world, they acquired complete Motorola brand, and this was the step only to acquire the brand. They weren't having a big plans for the Motorola, and that's why one of the reason why the Motorola failed was due to this all that stuff. And to be frank, it was doing a great job in that market too, in the smartphone market. But after the acquisition by the Google, it was completely undisturbed. And by the time they acquired, it was a big number of value into the Motorola market, and they weren't having any qualifications what to do with the Motorola, what to do with the tech the Motorola was having. And afterwards it was bringing some sort of smartphones in a really offline market. Not a big advertisements were going on for the Motorola based smartphones, and they were doing their own type of tech in their own world, and bringing audio stuff and some of the basic stuff, and that's why the Motorola J series is basically known in its own big numbers, and we have seen a lot of G series based smartphone in the past. And afterwards, when it was done that there isn't a big competition with the Google itself, then they decided to sell the Motorola brand, and they sold to the Lenovo at a really really low value, and Lenovo acquired it. And Lenovo did in the way that they have a big plans for the Motorola, and to be frank, they should have a big brand, big plans for the Motorola, which we're gonna talk in a bit. But it was kind of going with an ups and downs. After the acquisition by the Lenovo itself, Lenovo company, Motorola was kind of desperately, trying to convey itself in a way of smartphones. But Lenovo was using the smartphone technology of the Motorola, implementing its own Lenovo-based smartphones. But the Lenovo-based smartphones weren't even eventually catching itself, and Motorola made some of the G series based smartphones, and kind of offline based China offline based smartphones too, and only China centric smartphones, coming some smartphone in US market. And they were having kind of a slow market going on, and they were capturing some amount of the market share, but there wasn't a big response going on in the back end. That's why they were having ups and downs. If acquisition of a company is been happening, then you should have a big plans. And as for me, they were planning after the 10 to 12 years of the what they wanted to do. Currently Motorola is bringing some of the good smartphones. There is their S series, which is their flagship type of series. There is their G series, which is budget type of series. E series, which is their completely most affordable entry level based smartphones are there in that series. Also there are based a couple of keypad based smartphones are there from the Motorola too. But in a sense, acquisition by the Motorola, they were planning, the Lenovo basically were planning something on the back end side. And to be frank, one of the kind, afterwards we have seen a lot of smartphones coming in a big number. We have seen a lot of smartphones coming in the G series, S series, and a couple of in the E series. And afterwards they are completely shut, and we have seen a lot of phones, right? But the Lenovo wasn't even having a big plans for the Motorola. As of they were independent, they were having some sort of plans going on in their head. Of the down points, if I do have to mention about the Motorola, if you know, Android 12 on the Motorola phones are really really good. Even they try to push Android 12 on the smartphones under 10,000 range with the A series and G series based smartphones. But the Android 13 is kind of giving a lot of down points. They were basically known for a clean Android experience and a clean Android experience basically, and experience, yes, the experience comes at a first level, whatever the specifications are there, experience is the first thing, right? But the Android 13 is kind of lacking behind with them. They are pushing the ads on the top of it with the Android 13, and having a lot of potential on the specifications are kind of capturing a really low end based thing. Even their design is kind of if I do have to say so, the S series and the G series based designs are kind of say completely easily recognizable, that they both are looking same. There isn't a differentiation. I like that thing at the first time, but at after realizing that that same design you can get it at this price point is kind of a offsided stuff for a budget type of mindset of a people. Also on the third thing which I kind of say is okay, and they should upgrade it, their OS facilities. Their OS backend support is really really bad, and they aren't basically known for their operating system updates, and they should work on that type of stuff and try to push more type of updates, and at least give what type of updates our phone will be getting on the box, or you can see by the phone itself or by the brand's official web page, because I hadn't seen a lot of things, and Motorola is trying to come back also, which is kind of say nice too. So that's one of the question in my head, which I kind of say might be having in also in your head. Basically, can Motorola be a flagship based smartphone brand? Absolutely yes, but absolutely no too. Basically, on some of the levels, the flagship should give a lot of backend support, a lot of having a twist and turns about the flagship optimization for a smartphone. Motorola tried to give that thing with a lot of smartphones. Even then Motorola, the current based 200 megapixel based smartphone, which try to give a lot of stuff on the top of it. Even with a lot of Motorola Edge series based smartphones, you can get a kind of say slick towards a flagship based flagship based feel on that smartphones. But in a lot of sense, the flagship based sting is aren't on the Motorola based smartphones, such as OS updates, which I talked about, and a lot of things which I talked about. On the backend side, the only thing which I think that the Motorola should work on is the after sales services, which is really good in their market area, but they should expand it in a more. Currently, they are only partnering with the Lenovo based setups, or they don't have a lot of setups in their own hand. And afterwards, their complete backend side is ups and downs going on. So I kind of say they should work on it, and they should push more and more stuff on to that front end side for the after sales services. So that's all about this video. Kind of say Motorola could be a really big brand if Google and Lenovo things that didn't appear in their complete story, or you can say their complete lineup. They could be one of the brand who kind of the competitive to the Apple, Samsung, and then might be a Motorola. But currently, it's kind of a see there is a brand Motorola in a very budget type of sector, and as for me, they are trying to push some of the good stuff, but there are some three things which are lacking behind on their Motorola based smartphones. The lack of optimization should be there on the smartphones, but on that price point which they are targeting, the optimization is okay. On paper, specifications are really top notch, but there are some things which are actually compromised on their smartphones. So as for me, Motorola should work on some of the things, and they are been so underrated brand, or I can say a dog which is kept in a shell which it don't want it to break. As for me, they trying to break the shell, but Lenovo don't want them to break. Even the Lenovo tried to push smartphones from a Motorola based, such as Lenovo's ThinkPad was there. Basically a laptop. They tried to convert it with the Motorola's ThinkPad edition, which didn't come up into a lot of market, and even a lot of Lenovo and Motorola based smartphones feels a lot similar. Even the Lenovo tried to convince us with some of the things with their smartphones having a lot of optimization on the top of it, but it didn't catch up. But yeah, it's their way of doing. So for Captain Diaz, you're watching Kiara and Diaz. Like, share, subscribe, gonna be appreciating our work. I'll catch you in the next video. Stay safe, stay connected. Peace.